actually how much pizza you can consume as a thin man. It angers me. Welcome back to Keeping Commerce Weird, the podcast where we cut through the noise, challenge the status quo, and occasionally argue about things that really matter, like pizza. I'm your host, Travis Hess, the CEO of Commerce. Today I'm joined by our Chief Product Officer, Vipul Shah. Vipul's built and scaled products at some pretty small startups you might have heard of: Google, JP Morgan, PayPal, and others. And now he's helping shape the future of commerce here at Commerce. At its core, this conversation's about product, how you build it, how you scale it, and how you decide when to play it safe versus when you try something that might sound absolutely unhinged at first. We'll talk about what Vipul's learned moving between big tech, fintech, and commerce, how product leadership's changing right now, and why staying close to the customer is still the most underrated competitive advantage in the room. So whether you're here for the product insights or just to hear two people who are obsessed with pizza talk shop, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Vipul, welcome to Keeping Commerce Weird, my friend.
Thanks, man. Great to be here with you.
I'll tell you what, man, you and I have talked about this many times. You started what, last June?
I did, yeah. Give it a year last year, yep.
We met we use an external executive recruiting firm when we're looking for a CPO. You were literally the first candidate I met, the first candidate the rest of the leadership team met. And of course, we need to go through a whole process. But literally after the first conversation, I think with everybody, the feedback immediately was, we need to hire this guy tomorrow, and I know you didn't know that. And I don't think we let you know that because we would have lost some leverage in negotiation, obviously. But but it was this debate of trying to maintain our own excitement to get through and see many other very talented and qualified candidates to finally come back to the first one we met, which was you, and it came to fruition, which was amazing. It felt like fate.
Well, it's been great to be here. What a ride it's been. I mean, not even a year yet, but it's been fantastic. You know, I'm so happy to be here with the team and what's happening in the industry. It's been a great ride.
You don't feel like it's prematurely aged you, do it?
It has, but that's okay. I'm used to that. My last stint was in the freight industry in the middle of the pandemic when stuff was upside down. So
yeah,
I don't have too much hair to lose left. So it's okay. It's okay.
I say better gray than nay. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have much of a choice. You just own it, right? You just own it authentically.
Exactly.
But you, my friend, actually, one of your best qualities that we'll get into here in a minute, your affection for pizza dare I say, you may be the only person I've met in life, at least recently, that loves pizza as much as I do. And I don't want to get into that now because you and I could talk about it for hours. We've got a special section here talking about pizza.
Fantastic.
But that was the most surprising thing about you is, not only how passionate you are about pizza, but actually how much pizza you can consume as a thin man. It angers me at times that you can eat as much as you can. I look at that stuff and I gain weight. You can put away a lot of pizza.
I can. I'm not sure how much open artery space there is left, but yeah, I can, and I've traveled the world, looking in search of good pizza, and I'm happy to have had some here with you.
Yeah, we have
been good.
We haven't gone to my favorite places yet, but you and I have had pizza in a couple of different continents, actually. But your pedigree, I mean, your background speaks for itself. You've worked at some of the largest companies in the world, and built products there. The Googles, the PayPals, the JP Morgans. What patterns show up no matter the industry, right? Independent of market and industry, you see consistently.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Quite a zigzag journey, from designing aircraft engines to banking to moving freight,
Yeah. All the sexy
but
stuff.
I've really enjoyed, the zigzags. It's been fun. But I think, across all these companies, probably a few things stand out. One is, perspiration over inspiration makes for success.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking about really smart people that I was around, much smarter than I. Great companies like PayPal and Google and JP Morgan. The inspiration is critical. For example, PayPal's vision early on in the early days of money without borders, or universal chapter of payments, critical, essential, motivational. But it's that attention to detail, scraping for basis points and fraud reduction, keeping customers safe in the early days of the internet when we didn't really know a lot about customer behaviors and online fraud, or for that matter, the arbitrage with payment systems, not really quite knowing how that was going to work, cards and ACH, digital wallets, and a whole bunch of different stuff happening. I think it was just chipping away persistently at that, particularly when you have an entire establishment of banking and payment networks coming after you, looking at you as competitors. So I think whether it was there or JP Morgan with the constant regulatory scrutiny and figuring out how to grow and innovate, that persistence, that perspiration was important. And same at Google. I think organizing the world's information and making it accessible, great North Star and vision. People get it. But making that happen in millisecond after millisecond improvement, search latency, or in authorization rate success, that type of passion for excellence, I think, is the perspiration over the inspiration.
Yeah.
Those are some of the patterns that I found over these good companies.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I remember talking to you when we first met and kind of articulating the opportunity here and kind of what drew me to the org. And I think maybe similar to your PayPal days at the time, you've got established competitors in the space. Obviously, it's hyper competitive. You got a couple of monster competitors that don't need to be named. I think anyone who watches the show knows who they are. Certainly, we're smaller in size and stature than some of those guys, and contrarian in some ways. In the way that we've approached this, we've been very open, very composable, very ecosystem driven in many ways. And like from my perspective, I think you saw it the same way. You've got a really nice foundational business here, a lot of foundational human capital, and a nice, it's like looking at a house that's been lived in. Maybe it's not your decor, and certainly you haven't been living there, but the bones are good. It's not without faults and it's not without flaws. Certainly, I've never worked for a perfect company, but the ability to come in and not build something from scratch, certainly that wasn't needed here, but leave your fingerprints on something in a meaningful way within a reasonable time frame is what I saw. I think you and I talked about this in the work. I think trying to convince you was, I know the work is really important to you. It's, obviously compensation and things like that are certainly, obviously, as a grown man, important, but the work itself was the most meaningful thing. Do you agree? And if so, like, has that been validated since coming in?
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting when I left some of those bigger companies and moved into a small startup, digitizing freight in the middle of the pandemic, upside down. People like, what the heck are you doing? And for me, it was just like, hey, in a career, if you're a part of one transformational change, so if you're lucky, to not having just come in the office and move a piece of paper from one side of the desk to the other. I had a chance to experience that once in my career at PayPal in the early days. Just creating a new category it was awesome.
Yeah, it's exhilarating.
And honestly, that's what I felt when we were chatting. And my God, how cool to be at the very front of a revolution that's happening in shopping. Consumer behavior is changing, technology just dramatically changing. I feel like this is another one of those, like epical changes, and pretty damn cool. And I think we have, I mean, when you're at our age, the people you're working with becomes really, really important. Not chasing,
it matters.
Climbing career ladders and chasing that type of stuff anymore. It's just about how do you make an impact, and the people really matter, right? And the people's not just within the company, but within the ecosystem within which we operate, our partners, right? All around in this ecosystem that we live in here, and that really inspired me.
Yeah, it's like you get older. I tell young people all the time. I try to like the people matter the most, actually, and it doesn't mean you surround yourself with your friends per se. Although some of my closest friends in life I've met through work. The common denominator in what makes, regardless of circumstance, exciting and enriching is really the people.
100%. I think it's so critical. I think the other thing that also attracted me here, I think the most amazing experiences for me in my career were when I was kind of the David fighting the Goliath.
Yeah. A little bit of that here.
Again, early days of PayPal, fighting the establishment was a lot of fun, and I like a good fight, as you now know. So
I love a good fight. I don't like being part of the enterprise. That's not been my comfort zone.
I like it. So, and we've got some great opportunity here, and it's just fun when you come into work saying, "Hey, let's go win, and let's go do some pretty cool things," with what's happening here. So,
well, if it was easy, anybody could do this shit at the end of the day. So, you gotta keep that in context and realize that it's never going to be easy. I've never had an easy job. In fact, the few times I've had easy times in jobs has felt kind of unsettling for me. You feel this angst of like, does everyone else know it's easy for me? And when are they going to call it out on me? I felt like a 13-year-old again. How has your definition of great product changed over the years, or has it maintained consistency? Has it evolved?
No, that's an interesting question. I'd say, I started off designing aircraft engines for F-15s, and the definition of great is really high precision, really low fault tolerant environment, long product cycles, innovation cycles. The definition of great in that type of environment is a little bit different from a really fast cycle business, like the one that we're in, where consumer behavior and technology is just changing so rapidly, man. You come in, on a different day, and you're facing, different competitive environments, different technology, different regulatory environments, and everybody's trying to figure everything out at the same time. And so I think for me, the evolution has been recognizing that a great product adapts and provides the opportunity to reinvent itself. Same principles as for a great business, a great product, right? I think of Google's first steps coming out on the AI front with Bard, if you remember, right?
I'm old enough to remember.
Debacles of misclassifying, around certain queries, and it's a product that was inherently imperfect upon launch, but great companies understand how to test, learn, iterate, improve rapidly, while also maintaining customer trust, right? And so, to me, that ability to adapt, to continue to bring step function improvements to customers, is probably the evolution from it's got to be perfect, and you have to have all the information up front to make the perfect decision at the very get-go. It's an evolution of being able to understand and balance, precision versus speed, and the ability to go fast and really deliver step function value for customers.
Yeah, my boss uses a line often, and I love it from her, is, perfect is the enemy of good.
Absolutely.
And, I agree with you in this space, and I've been in this space pretty consistently for 20 years. And there's always been a focus on speed. Obviously, I came out of services where, the longer you take to deliver something, usually the longer you're carrying costs, and subsequently the more cost a client's absorbing. So there's always been an emphasis on speed, but the tech now is so good that it's allowing so much competition and so much innovation so quickly. That's the fun side. The expectation is you're shipping at a much faster pace and velocity. The downside is there's a lot of noise around that. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of hype. It's a lot of emojis, which are annoying. And as my eyesight's gotten worse, I don't really know what most of them mean. I've got to take screenshots and blow them up. That's a whole separate conversation. But back to kind of balancing this quality with speed, how do you do that? Because we live this every day. Absolutely. We've got to ship, but you don't want to ship slop. And there's a balance of not being perfect per se, but again, back to the line, perfect is the enemy of good. How do you ship at a pace that is best in class while maintaining quality control?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, it used to be kind of that one came at the expense of the other side, right? Do you want to go really fast, or do you want to have good quality? I think now it's not a zero-sum game. And, principles like MVP, fail fast, test, learn, iterate, right? I think some of the great companies that I've been with have perfected, this art into a science of like, look, build things with the minimum embellishment, but that meets a customer need.
Yeah.
MVP does not mean poor quality. MVP has to be very high quality, but allows you to move fast when you're really, really sort of boiling down to the essence of what that customer need is and delivering a very simple product, right, that meets the customer need. And then as you get that out there rapidly with minimum embellishments, being able to then take feedback and iterate on that, I think that's one opportunity to go fast while not compromising quality.
Yeah.
And I think AI has actually introduced some pretty phenomenal opportunities for us to accelerate product development while not compromising quality. An example would be, the tools that we're using like Cursor, right?
Yeah.
Or Gemini and other LLMs and Figma, Make, Framer. These are all great tools that actually allow us to bring design and prototyping much more alive in the early stages of the product development lifecycle. A product manager can now use these tools to actually have live prototypes that you can take to a customer rather than having an endless discussion in words around, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
You go spend 6 months building
Let
it.
me
pay me
show
for
you
it,
something
yeah.
here. Let me show you something. It's here, it's alive, and customers are like right on the spot of, yeah, that really resonates with what I need. I don't have to work through, a 50-page document or your well-rehearsed brief to try to figure out what's real or not.
Yeah.
I see it right here. That's one example of just acceleration of the product development cycle that doesn't compromise quality because you're bringing it alive very vividly, giving them the ability to test it, to live it, to breathe it right there and then, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. And then I would add that, AI is also helping us understand risks better. When you have that AI, you have the ability to do a lot of failure modes, effects, and analysis right on the spot, right? Break this product for me. Help me understand the various ways in which this can fail. Simulate failure modes for me and help me understand how I can improve my product, right? These are the types of things we used to do very manually and very tediously in the early days of aircraft engine manufacturing, literally thinking about the million ways in which
Something could go wrong.
stuff can go wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys are
we
taking
did it
your
well. We
time.
took all
I would
the
hope they're
time.
Still doing
We
that
did
in
all
that
the time,
industry. I fly a lot. I really
Rest assured.
take your listen, Boeing, please, for the love of God, take your time. More so than you have been over the last 5 to 10 years. I know. I read all the articles. I'm on Boeing's all the time.
Yep.
Yes, take your time. No need to rush
The
things.
good news is that, we did all of that. It took a long time though. But now, there's just an opportunity to use AI in a much better way to build more robust products with higher quality while still going fast. So it's kind of cool. It's not a zero-sum game.
It's interesting to watch the cultural shift. Obviously, younger people that were, kind of, I use it, metaphorically, born into this environment where everything is fast and they're born with the tech and have lived through the tech and all those things. And you got older folks, seasoned folks like ourselves in our, late 30s, early 40s.
You gave it away.
That, grew up in the older days where, you went through kind of methodologies and frameworks that I think was an advantage at the time because of the deliberate nature of it and the manual nature of it. You ended up learning a lot of things about customers that because of the length of time that you spent with them departmentally, there wasn't the tech to kind of bring this all together and synthesize it quickly. I feel like for myself, it really rounded me out and made my skill set and acumen a bit more holistic in nature because, even regardless of job, every sales cycle, I mean, the old days, you would come out on the services side and run discovery for weeks, months sometimes, and the amount, it was a slog, but the amount of information you extrapolated out of people and departments to go then synthesize into a solution and then go build whatever it is that you were building far exceeds the pace, obviously, than what we're doing it today, much faster. So younger people don't get that same sort of exposure, which, again, maybe it's superfluous in modern day times, maybe it's not. I feel like maybe it's more on the services side. The cultural shift has been a bit more challenging? How do I embrace AI when I know that it's literally cannibalizing my legacy business model, which is to bill more time against projects and obviously drive value at the same time. But when that time is a fraction now of what it was then, how do I still keep the same bodies and seats and continue to grow by leveraging it? And it forces you to think in a completely different way. It's fascinating to watch some people do that really well, watch some other people do it not so well. And for those of us that have been around the world long enough to have seen it, watching that from the sidelines, where do you feel like on the product side, people are still overcomplicating things? Where do you see it? And I'm sure that's still happening, obviously.
Yeah, I think, look, product folks or engineers, of which I'm both of those, at different parts of my career, we're builders,
Yeah.
I mean, we get up in the morning and we're thinking about like, what do we want to build? And I think sometimes, success is in being more discriminating in what it is that you choose to build, right? And I think the dangers of overbuilding, overcomplicating the product can arise when, one, you're not really rooted very deeply in the customer experience.
Yeah.
So when that tends to not happen, you got product and engineering teams that are kind of up in an ivory tower, building stuff with all the right intentions. You can tend to overcomplicate things, and God knows we've seen instances of that, in many industries, with many companies.
In life, I see a lot in people's personal lives.
100%, I think, the other thing is, particularly in technology companies, and we used to have this debate at one of the other companies I used to work at, arguably the best technology company in the world, of, incentives. What do you reward, right, product and engineering teams on? Is it the lines of code written?
Yeah.
Is it the number of features that you've pushed? Which has been the case in the past.
Yeah.
Because, we're builders, right? That's what we get rewarded on, instead of, hey, look, have you landed something? Not just launched, but have you landed something with high quality? What does landing really mean, right? It's been adopted by a customer. It's been acknowledged as being valuable. So I think the incentive structure is important, and the lack of that can lead to overcomplication. And then I do think that having the right organizational balance is important too. So, for example, here, and in most places I've been, I got guys, on the other side, for example, my very beloved CFO and COO, who'll be like, hey, Vipul, you just showed me like this really amazing array of stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really sexy, really cool. But hey, are we really going to be able to deliver this with high quality? And have you thought about, the machinery around commercialization and SKUs and the regulatory aspects of this and, compliance and a variety of different things? And I think you need to have that healthy tension in organizations to have, both at the same time, this pushing of the envelope, at the same time, this very rational approach of, look, are we doing what's right by our customers and by our shareholders,
Of course.
in a safe and responsible way, and not just building stuff for the sake of building stuff?
Yeah. I very much think the entire industry is being disrupted. Obviously, AI is as a catalyzer for that, but it's really forcing companies to think differently and blow up legacy models. To your point, it's not about shipping necessarily lines of code or features anymore. I very much believe in business outcome, having come from services, and I'm trying to start a bit of a, I don't want to say revolution as being dramatic, but I think orienting people more into outcome. What are we delivering that's going to materially create an outcome that either solves a pain challenge or accelerates growth on behalf of our customers, and somehow figure out how to tie incentives back to people in maybe non-traditional ways to encourage the right type of behavior and focus, and to really contextualize for people that have never had the contextualization. Like, for example, as we've gone through some restructures here intentionally and strategically, most recently we've moved a lot of commercially minded folks into the product organization, which I think has helped harmonize that because you've got this balance of commercialization and very market-facing sort of acumen, understanding what merchants are needing, how they operate, how they like to receive things, how they like to give information, and contextualizing that for across a broader product and engineering organization that isn't able to spend as much time in market and in field. I think you're seeing it change how it is that we operate in a good way. And at the same time, it's also informing those commercial leaders what it really takes to ship these things.
Yep. I think there are a couple of things. One sort of at a strategic level, it's really understanding risk appetite of your stakeholders, right? As folks ultimately serving and accountable to customers and shareholders, you got to have a strong understanding of what's that envelope, what's that risk appetite of these stakeholders that you serve, right? So I think that's really important in deciding what types of bets you can place and what the boundary conditions are within which you kind of operate, right? Because that sets the tone, right? And I think being really, really close to customers, understanding, hey, how far are you willing to go in an experimentation, for example, right? How far are you willing to move outside of your expected norm? The conversation's like, hey, why would you want to change something that seems to be working for me perfectly, right? We've all been in those situations where you're like, open your app and you're like, why the hell did they just change everything up on me? It was working just fine, So I think one is understanding that that customer, having a very, very strong customer compass, I think is really important. And then on the other side of it is also practical question around what's the shareholder appetite for risk, right?
Yep.
And I think in our case, I think we're fortunate to have great customers like Axon, Shirley over there that are lead steers in the innovation and who embrace the uncertainty of a new era of commerce, right? And are helping to lead us into that future. So we love partnering with leading change advocates like that, right? And we have a board and investors that recognize that, some of this innovation is inherently uncertain. Let's place some of those big bets. It's not necessarily immediately the thing that translates into free cash flow, but we got to be there. We got to be placing those bets. And so strategically, that's really important. And then tactically, I think it's really about making sure that you understand and deploy, a risk management mindset of, being able to do the hard work of understanding how things can break. And if they break, what's your contingency? That's tactical risk management. And in this modern era of rapid change, all product managers are becoming risk managers as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. No,
strategic and tactical.
It is. It's fascinating. I mean, the agentic stuff, the new models you're seeing come to market as quickly as they are, and that'll continue to evolve. I mean, you've got, as it's been described to me, they'll remain nameless, some of the bigger players in the industry saying we're building the plane as we're flying it, not to use an aerospace analogy, and that might make some people uncomfortable, as I'm a nervous flyer despite flying all the time. But it's true because this is fluid in many capacities. I think what everyone thought of as e-commerce has evolved very, very quickly. It's obviously we went through the rebrand. I think commerce is pervasive everywhere, and I think it's taking different shapes and forms and will continue. And from all of this will birth different technologies, different commercial models, different ways of working, which for those of us who have been around for a long time, it's certainly interesting and entertaining. I think it's the most fascinating time to have ever been in this space. I think 15, 20 years ago when it was really big retail that was digitizing for the first time, and you probably saw it on the banking side too with PayPal coming up, where we were doing some foundational things that at the time, now seems foundational, at the time was really innovative. Back then, I mean, retailers just trying to digitize a catalog and put up a commerce website for the first time. I mean, I double dog dare somebody to deliver a commerce platform today within this space with full-time staffed resources. It doesn't happen. It's not affordable. So you're delivering it with less experienced people. You're delivering it with fractionally staffed resources and context switching. We see the same thing on software as we deliver all of these capabilities. It is a completely different dynamic that in many regards is much harder, I think, than the old days. It's harder for different reasons, but as someone who's experienced all of it, it is really fascinating. Of course, the younger people have no interest in talking about how it was done, just like we had no interest in hearing about our parents' stories from like whenever. So I don't talk about it a lot, but between two reasonably mature
in our
age
30s.
guys, in our late 30s, early
right.
40s, I feel like you'd be receptive to that conversation. All right, let's get into the good stuff here. We're going to draw some parallels to pizza, and then we're actually going to get into the pizza stuff.
I love it.
I've been leaving breadcrumbs, no pun intended, for pizza for a long time here, because people here know I do have an emotional connection with pizza.
I know you.
To draw back to product, if product strategy were pizza, are you more of a simple classic cheese sort of guy, executed perfectly, or a little more rebellious, throw some pineapple and, dare I say, Canadian bacon and hot honey on it and see what the hell happens?
I'm more of a purist, minimal ingredients, Neapolitan style, classic, although I got to tell you, over time, at the urging of my wife, I have grown to appreciate hot honey and toppings as exotic as paneer on pizza.
Paneer?
Which would have at one point in time been like anathema, So I'm evolving, right? It's all about adaptability.
It
right?
is.
So product strategy's got to be adaptable, just like my taste in pizza.
Don't get going on paneer. You and I've talked about paneer.
Yeah, we have.
And my affection for paneer.
Yes.
And
you had it on pizza, I think.
I've never had it on. I was going to ask you, how well does that melt?
It's pretty damn good. I got a place next time you're in the Bay.
I will go to that place quite enthusiastically, because I need more paneer in my life.
All right.
With you. I buy it from my Indian grocery store. They tell me you're supposed to kind of soak it maybe in hot water first to soften it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've not perfected it, but I'm a big paneer fan, to be candid.
There's like a curry pizza that I always used to be skeptical about. I love my Indian food and I love my pizza.
Yeah.
But they got to be different worlds. And that was always my approach. But the two have come together in an interesting way.
All right, let's do a little rapid fire then.
All right,
we'll get to the audience. New York, Chicago, Detroit, Neapolitan. I think I already know the answer because you just alluded
Neapolitan, right on top, but a fast follow would be a drippy, oily New York style pizza.
Interesting. What's your least favorite of those four?
Well, I would say Detroit, the grandma style pizza is probably the least.
Really? You like Chicago better?
I do like a Chicago.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. The Original Uno, Zachary's in Oakland.
Original
Lou Malnati's in Chicago. Dude, those are good.
I know. I was Chicago for a long time, 12 years, whatever it was. I would say Giordano's for me if I had to go deep dish. I'm not. Listen, it's one of those things I appreciate. When I go to Chicago, I have it. When I lived there, I ate it very rarely because there's only so much you can eat. You're never going to finish it, and when you put it in your fridge and that thing congeals, and you look at it the next morning and it's just like a block of cheese, I felt like it might have been prematurely killing me. I would put New York at my top. I should have put New Haven in there as well because I'm from Connecticut.
Oh, that's a good one.
I was going to ask you simple or loaded toppings, but we already know you're a purist, so we're not going to go toppings.
All right.
I agree, although I think the most underrated topping on pizza myself, ricotta.
Oh, absolutely.
Ricotta. And
Beautiful.
Tony's in North Beach, they have a pizza called the New Yorker. It's like pepperoni sausage, and it's obviously got mozzarella on it, but it's got ricotta on it as well, and it's room temperature ricotta. It's not, you can't cook that stuff. You cook that stuff, and it ruins the ricotta. It just, the room temperature is the way to go.
Talking about innovation and risk. Burrata on pizza also
That's a tough
combination to pull off.
There's a place here, and I know you know what it is because I turned it in Austin.
Yeah.
All day pizza. I will put that on par with Tony's and John's of Bleecker. I've got to give them props here. I used to only go to the one over in Terrytown on 35th Street. I know there's one in Hyde Park as well. I've not gone to that one, but that pizza is legit, and they have kind of a burrata version.
Who would have thought? Great pizza in Austin. And I was impressed.
There's a couple places here. That all day is, I tell everybody who comes here, I mean, the parking, like everything here in Austin, parking's terrible. So you got to earn it. You got to like park down the street and walk up the hill, like whatever. And it's hot, and there's not a lot of seating, and there's like a wine bar attached to it. It's a good vibe. Like you go 7 o'clock Friday night, you're waiting. Dare I say it's worth it, but it's fantastic. Would you rather have a perfectly executed classic slice every time or a bold experimental pizza?
I think it depends, on my mood.
Yeah.
And back to kind of like understanding the environment and your stakeholders. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for what I need, that classic, perfectly executed, simple style. And other times, maybe when I'm with my wife, and she's urging for more diversification beyond the basic simplicity, which she calls boring. I'll be like, all right, let's go try something, whether it's burrata or paneer or,
Sure.
whatever it may be. I was a huge skeptic, of toppings, and I think taste has evolved. But yeah, it depends on the mood. Yeah.
My friends that know me would probably critique me and say you order the same thing every time. If I like something, it's hard for me to try something else on the menu when there's something on the menu that I love so passionately. I just keep going back for it over and over and over again. So there have been a couple places where they've had I was at a place recently, they had like a pistachio pesto pizza, which I love pistachios. For those that are watchers of the show, my parents, and maybe a few others, I had a big pistachio latte episode several months back. It sounds fascinating, but I still didn't order it because there's another pizza there that I love, and I just keep getting the same thing. Now in business, I'm actually the opposite. I actually like new things, and I like disruption, and I like change management and transformation, things like that. But with my pizza, I try to keep it. Why fix it if it ain't broke?
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I told you I was going to surprise you.
Wow. That's all I can say.
I didn't expect this. We literally brought in All Day Pizza here in Austin.
Love it.
As I've already mentioned.
What
They're
a
not sponsors of the
treat.
show, but if you're listening, I would love any sort of special relationship with you All Day. Even if it's a job, I will work there for your pizza.
This is a new bar for my meetings, by the way. Now,
This is
all day in every meeting.
I have influenced so many people in your direction. Every out-of-towner that comes here, I insist, that goes to All Day Pizza. But we brought in 2 pizzas here just to really see if what you said was legit or if you were bullshitting us being a purist. We got a purist, pure cheese. We've got a pickle pizza with a side of ranch, dare I say, which my kid loves ranch with pizza. Then again, he loved Papa John's too, which is embarrassing to admit. It's just disgusting. But I'm willing to give it a try. We're going to start with a purist. We're going to A/B test this, man.
All right, man. Let's do it.
We're going to see what's legit. You first.
Let us do it. All right.
You got it?
Check this
You
out.
take the bigger piece?
Check this out from all angles. Look at that charring. Look at
you like to admire it. I've noticed that about
test.
you. You always look at the leoparding on the bottom.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
It's
And you
beautiful.
fold it New York style.
Do a little bit, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yep. There it is. It comes back.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Are you going to go 2? 2 bites? You need 2?
I think I do.
All right. Okay, we can do 2.
Let's do one more.
All right. You want your ranch for your pickle?
That one, I got to tell you, honestly got me a bit frightened, but
The pickle pizza there.
let's try.
What's your beak on that? Yeah.
Let's try one without and one with.
I'll try. Yeah, I'm going to do the same. All right. It's like a fried pickle pizza. That is interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little ranch on this guy. See if it makes a difference.
What do you think?
It's better with a ranch.
Yeah?
It's better with a ranch. I wouldn't have thought that at first.
Not bad.
Not bad. I would never have ordered it on my own over what I would normally order there. They have a great hot honey and pepperoni pizza there, by the way, for those listening, which I think is spectacular. I would never have ordered that on my own, but you know what? I feel like I work for All Day. I'm plugging it. One of the coolest things they do there is they sell a sampler pizza where you can get a full, 8-slice pizza with 8 different pizzas so you can try one of each. It was good. It was different. I'm glad I tasted it. You're washing it down now. I don't have anything. Well, I have coffee. That's not going to be good. What say you?
I would agree with you. The
the marinara, the simple slice there, was, I think, fantastic.
You give it a 9 out of 10?
I would, absolutely.
Okay.
On the plain cheese, absolutely. A very interesting combo, though. I'm glad to try it, but probably wouldn't go back.
Listen, man, you're the only guest I've fed. Now, albeit, most people are virtual, and I wasn't going to send Rick Watson any food. Sorry, Rick. Maybe we're in person in New York. We'll go for lunch. But you're the only person I fed on the show. I've been waiting for this moment.
I appreciate it.
Because you're the only person that's been on, I feel, as emotional about food as I am, especially pizza. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. I know the team is stoked that you're here as well. Appreciate all that you do, and I'm really excited to be working together.
Super excited to be doing this with you. Thanks.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
All right. Take care.